Good morning and of course welcome to TMI Socials, where we explore stories from the world of social media, the most trending moments, the most trending videos, and the things that basically have tickled your fancy in the world of social media. We also do take reactions. I am your guide, Chukwufumnanya Digwe. Now for our first story, in a very patriotic and, remarkable act of integrity and a very, very laudable act, of course, immigration officer Prince Oji Ugochukwu apprehended a prime suspect involved in a heinous incident in Ezeagu, Enugu State. The suspect, a native doctor accused of ritual killings, attempted to flee the country but was intercepted at the Seme border. Despite being offered a 10 million naira bribe and an iPhone, Officer Ugochukwu stood firm, rejecting the inducement and ensuring the suspect's arrest. Governor Alex Oti of Abia State has lauded Officer Ugochukwu's actions, stating, "You have done your job excellently and shown that you are not just a good ambassador of Isiala Ngwa and Abia State, but of Nigeria as a whole." The governor emphasized that such acts of honesty and courage reflect the values of Abians, which they are known for, which is honesty, diligence, and a strong work ethic. Of course, as we see, the governor, Alex Oti of Abia State, has lauded this immigration officer for his remarkable act of integrity, where he basically rejected a 10 million naira bribe and went ahead to apprehend a prime suspect in a ritual case. Now let's get to see what the social media space and netizens are saying about this act. The first comment on this story is actually the next one. What you see on the screen right now was actually the post from the governor. Now the first comment says, "This is how it should be. We cannot have a better Nigeria until we have better Nigerians." The long-term effect of being a person of character is that it spreads to the immediate family and extends to local communities and the wider population in the long run. A better Nigeria is possible, and it begins with you and now. It's not all about money, but about the kind of country we want to build for the next generation. Good luck to the officer who rejected the bribe. Let's take the second reaction on this story. The second reaction goes along to say, "The man has conscience and so refused to take the bribe. What pains me is apart from that handshake, the state won't give him anything other than that applaud and a promotion to the next rank. Meanwhile, in another world scholarship for his children, insurance, medal of honor, and financial bonus." Well, that's much we can take on comments for this story. Now let's move on really quickly to the next trending moment on social media. This lineup actually is more like a bicycle appraisal of the president's work in the country. Now the first one says, in a significant development, Pastor Tunde Bakare, who is the founder of Citadel Global Community Church and former presidential aspirant, paid a courtesy visit to President Bola Tinubu in Lagos on Wednesday, June 4, 2025. The meeting comes after Pastor Bakare's earlier critics of the administration, where he urged the president to stop playing God and cautioned against authoritarian tendencies. During their private discussion, Pastor Bakare emphasized the need for national unity and progress, stressing and expressing his lifelong vision of seeing a Nigeria that works for all. He stated, "My personal vision is to see a nation that works in my lifetime." Now let's get to see a snippet of the video of Pastor Bakare's visit to the president, after which we'll take reactions.
What specifically are those things you have reservations about?
Well, it's not about just reservations. It's about how the country will go well. My personal vision is to see a nation that works in my lifetime. And those things I've discussed with Mr. President. They're not hidden things, but I've learned that when you discuss with the person in charge, you leave it with him to do whatsoever he wills with what you have suggested. So I've had a private conversation with Mr. President, and I'm glad that he received me well, and I trust that God will help our nation.
What areas specifically do you want him to improve on?
I've just told you what transpired in my discussion.
What specifically?
Well, there you have it, the statement from this pastor, which is widely known and, you know, following his former critics on the government. And now he's coming out to say he believes in Nigeria that, of course, will work. Now, let's get to see the reactions that are coming from netizens on this story. This one says, God have mercy. I need to apologize to my social media friends for posting this man's last video where he lambasted Tinubu's government for ineptitude, but now saying jargons. Well, let's take the next reaction. The next one says, all of a sudden, those who were against the president during election are now during close meeting with him. This is what happens when someone who understands Nigeria politics is ruling. More meetings to be held. Let's see the next reaction. The next reaction says, the same person that said on April 2025 that Mr. President, Nigeria is too delicate for this type of politics. Mr. President should stop playing God. So he is not playing with God anymore. Well, those are the reactions on that gist coming straight out of social media. We're still talking bicycle appraisals of the Tinubu administration. This one comes as Felix Moka goes on a breakfast show of a cable satellite television to talk about basically and commend the president's administration. In a recent interview, the secretary of the All Progressives Congress, APC, asserted that President Bola Tinubu has achieved more in 2 years than all his predecessors. Moka highlighted Tinubu's efforts in reordering national priorities and tackling significant economic challenges, stating that the president is focused on long-term solutions rather than seeking immediate popularity. This bold claim has sparked widespread discussions and debates across the country, with many questioning the metrics used for such comparisons and reflecting on the recent economic realities being faced by Nigerians. Let's get to see a snippet from his, statement, and then we'll take reactions on this particular one.
Now, this president in 2 years, as I have maintained, has done more than all of the presidents before him in the direction of reordering our priorities, tackling some of the most acerbic challenges faced by the economy of our country. He has decided that it's not about just looking for cheap popularity, but willing to do the tough things that may momentarily seem unpopular, but are decidedly crucial to the long-term good health of our country's economy.
Well, you heard it from the mouth of the National Secretary of the APC, lauding the remarkable choices of the President Bola Tinubu administration. Well, let's get to see what people are saying about this one. Well, for the first reaction, it says, hopeless people always talking rubbish, whereby Nigerians are suffering and dying without solution and hardship in which families can hardly feed while cost of governance is too high. Corruption tripped in many folds, joined with excess abuse of power. Let's take the last reaction on this one. The next reaction says, Tinubu is the most courageous civilian president, not afraid of making decisions and facing challenges, but lacks economic intelligence and ideas to deal with poverty and increase hardship he brought on the masses. He is not also showing solidarity to the masses to cut down the cost of governance, cut down salaries of top government workers, and deal with corruption. Emefiele is not enough. Well, really quickly, let's move on to our last story, which is also a bicycle reaction on the Tinubu administration. Well, this one comes from a reaction from Nollywood veteran star. He's also turned a politician right now, Kenneth Okonkwo. He has come out in an interview to say there is no way anyone will praise this government without appearing like a fool. I mean, those were his words. Let's get to hear him.
There's no way anybody will be praising this government without appearing like a fool. When they came in, Tinubu in inauguration ground said fuel subsidy is gone. And then, when he was saying that, there was no cabinet in place. Fuel price rose from 195 naira to 617 naira in one swoop. And then they floated in naira. And naira depreciated, going to almost 2,000 naira.
Well, that is the statement from Kenneth Okonkwo, veteran Nollywood star, now turned politician. And as you know, he had a lot to say, basically reviewing the policies of the government, which in his terms are failed. Now let's see what others on the social media space are saying about this. The first one says, you can't defend this government and their party without sounding foolish, but no sensible person will genuinely praise them for doing good, and if you are, that makes you a part of the problem we're currently facing and will continue to face in the future. Well, that's the most we can take on the program TMI Socials on the TMI network. From everyone at the crew, I will say thank you so much for watching. Good morning.